Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for our first topic of discussion for today. And as we noted earlier in our introduction, we're going to be talking about the inauguration of King Salman University in the sea resort city of Sharm el-Sheikh. And the university compromises 15 faculties distributed among its 3 branches in Al-Tor, Ras Sidr and Sharm el-Sheikh cities, and can accommodate over 25,000 students. This is a very important, of course, very important project inaugurated by the President. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined here in the studio by Dr. Jihan Zahran, and she's an education and innovation consultant and a postgraduate professor. A very good morning, Dr. Jihan, and thank you so much for joining.
Morning.
Doctor, first of all, if you can tell us about the significance of inaugurating new international universities in different governorates.
First of all, I'm just graduates, Egypt, for doing that. Really great step. And regarding questions, it's really related and something really having the criteria of having international universities for having the international curricula and education in the same level of the global market. All right. So once we started the university in a global criteria, so we are following the standards. And when we follow the standard, so we are on the level of the international education in all of the world. That's really the answer of these questions.
Doctor, also, how do you assess the efficiency of the new universities on the educational sector?
Especially in that kind of universities, it's really something really Egypt needed. It's really in need, because till now we are not following in the right way for the international curricula, for the international standards. So, and once we are doing this, and one of the main conditions of these universities is to follow in partnership with global universities. So when I have a partnership with any global universities, international universities, especially in Europe, and that's we are following the standards for that. So when we standards and we follow this, when we follow, so we are following the whole criteria of doing that. So we are on the level for this. Especially, and we are following here in Egypt the European one. And we have NACA here in Egypt, which has the criteria for all the standards for all universities. And that's we started to have the global one. One of the examples of this, simply that each professor take 15 students. It's one of the standards. And of course, we are not following this in the same way. But in the new universities, it should be followed in a specific, in each standard in the European universities.
Yes. Dr. Jihan, the President has recently inaugurated several universities. What is the extent that these universities' impact can have on the near future?
Of course, it's an impact. It's a lot of things. It has matches, first of all, the global market. You need to have a student who is really internationally knowledgeable.
And high competencies.
Exactly. So when I don't have this, I will not have a qualified graduates just to be on my all kinds of sectors in Egypt, and it can help me a lot. Of course, when I invest in education, I'm investing in everything.
Dr. Jihan, also, do you think that the university inaugurated recently governorates with the needed services and can create leaders for the future?
Exactly. So if I will follow exactly the criteria of what's really have been done in all these universities, I will follow that and I will impact this immediately. Do you know, of course, how the international universities are working, all right? And we have some of universities here is working in the same level, by the way. It's not none of them. No, we have some of them are working like that. When you see the graduates from these universities, without mentioning the names, you will know exactly how different the students have been, like graduates. He's more knowledgeable. He's know exactly what's going on. He have the presentation skills to still know exactly what he's really knowledgeable about. And he can go to the market easily, because most of them, they have practically inside the curricula itself in the same way in the market needs. And regarding what's going on in Egypt, it's really one of the criteria that the president's doing regarding these specific universities that matches the market needs. All right, and that's really, really very important. Unlike before, now we know exactly what the market is, and we are getting the education related to that, which is really the final thing that we should do.
Yes. Dr. Jihan, also, how do you see the president's and the government's efforts in achieving a notable educational development?
Yeah, exactly. Is what I said just right second now. It's the markets, what needs the markets doing, and I follow the education's target is. This is really what's have been done nowadays. And really it's something needed, and all of Egypt needed. Not, you have a lot of graduates know exactly, and when they graduate, they don't know exactly where to go. And the markets is really not related to the field or to the knowledge. So when they graduate, what they're doing, they get a lot of courses related to the thing that they are already, like targeting is. But in that kind of universities, this will not happen. According to what I saw, what the criteria already I studied there, no. It's completely different. The students will no need to do a lot of extra effort when it's graduates. So it's related to the field that Egypt needed. So that's the main thing, I think.
Doctor, can the implementation of such universities pave the way to reach the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals in line with the UN Convention?
Definitely. If I'm working with that, if I follow the standard, the international standard, if I really having, like the PK to choose who's working on this, if I follow up for what's going on, of course it will impact that directly.
Yes. Also, if you can talk to us about the importance of developing education and having the top-of-the-line technologies and the digital transformation that we're witnessing, how can we develop the education in its broader picture?
Do you mean in Egypt or general?
In Egypt.
In Egypt.
Yes.
All right. In Egypt, I see a lot of progressing for doing, and one of the main examples that brought me here is the topic. Exactly. So this is one of the main things that really will improve directly. All right. In Egypt education, because we have something that's really, you can see it from the students' knowledge, you can touch it from their communication with them. They need a lot of things to be done, and that's the main thing. And the only thing that really had make us really sustainable, it's an SDGs, it's non-profit organizations. All right, so meaning non-profit, it means all the benefits that getting out, it's returning back to improve the place. And that's really a very important thing. All right, and that will make, like an earthquake in education in Egypt. Hopefully when started directly that.
Yes. Doctor, if you can also tell us how can we benefit from successful experiences of high-performance educational systems of other countries that we can benefit from and we can follow suit?
We will do that once we follow the criteria of the global standard. One of the main conditions in this university is that to have a partnership with an international universities. And once I have an international, I'm cooperating with the curricula, I'm sharing the curricula, I'm sharing the experience, I'm sharing all the things that really make it international schools. All right. So, by the way, schools and faculties, it's the same meaning of, like the American system. So when I say schools, it means faculties in the British one. So most of them, we are following that. Of course, definitely, I'm in international global program because this is one of the main conditions. So I will not just work locally alone. I have to follow what I have partnered with. So definitely I will be internationally and globally.
Doctor, also we have to address the challenges. So what do you think, in your opinion, as an expert, as an educational expert, are the challenges facing the educational sector in Egypt?
resistance.
Resistance to change.
Yes, anything new, you will find people just having resistance a little bit in the beginning to know exactly, oh my God, am I gonna have this technology in the beginning? So it's really will be difficult a little bit to make the people, the staff, using in that way, but just in the beginning. But when I have the criteria and the nice thing, and when they use it, later on, they will know exactly it's not a wasting of time.
Yeah.
It will
So,
save the
Doctor, why
time.
do you think there's resistance despite the advantage that we have seen coming out of the digital transformation during COVID-19, online classes, virtual classes, webinars, and so on and so forth? Despite the facilitation that has been made, why do you think people are still resisting?
Because, first of all, because this is a nature of humankind. All right, that's resistance. Secondly, we don't used to. So, and we don't have the right training and the right experience to know that beforehand. I mean, this is one of the major things that it should be done from the beginning. In school, from K to 12, I'm talking about the young, or the higher education, they have something called learning management system.
Yes.
And that's an e-learning, all right? And that's really basically. But most of them that using it in a proper way. And that's why when they have, you know, like the time to do it differently, you know, like by force, they just find themselves panicking. But if they're using gradually from the beginning, as the plan said, nothing will happen.
Yes. Speaking further to what we're talking about, what do you think is the role of modern technology in educational systems or in educational reform?
Oh, that's the basic role. You know, like now it's, you will find the students is more knowledgeable than the professor. All right. So, and we have to cope about this. Technology is the process that we're really having a basic role in education. I'm not talking about just a device. No, I'm talking about the researching skills. I'm talking about students how to do research in the right way. Okay, how can I know this topic related for what I'm researching? How can I research by my own? How can I have this skill from the beginning? That's technology, not the devices. Devices is already changing most of the time. Devising is changeable. I can bring different device.
Yeah, if we lay the right foundation.
Exactly. So I have to know the basics. I have to train teachers and professors and instructors how to use technology through education in the simple way, basically. And when they have basically that, it will be easy to give it to the students.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Jihan, also today we can witness great efforts to develop the education sector in Egypt. In your opinion, what could be done to boost these efforts?
Follow up. Just simple way. I have the criteria, I have now at the universities, I have the curricula, I have the partnership, I have the infrastructures, I have the staff, all right? I have very qualified people in Egypt. But once I started this, I have to follow up in a systematic way. If I follow up in a systematic way, everything will go smoothly. At least in the first 5 years, you will have follow-up system cycling by itself. So that's my just simple answer to that.
Yes. Dr. Jihan, also, what do you think are the steps to build a positive society through developing education?
And have, you know, like, just follow the word, education is fun. You know, like between practice. Education is fun. So we don't need to have education is just like a serious thing. So this is completely different for what education is meaning, you know. But if I want to have the integration, all right, between how education to be interesting, how can I search by myself, how can I know from the students itself just to know exactly to search for the information, to love education. This is exactly what we miss. In most of the categories, not only in higher education, now in K to 12, before that. So if I get the way that, so everything will be smooth in education, exactly like the top, you know, like the top countries in all of the world, like, you know, like Finland, for example. They are sharing the students in everything related to what they're doing. They don't have so many hours in education in the schools. But actually they cover all the information. So, and that's the balance. When I have an English class, in the English class, I will do an art and history, all right, and essay, and maybe math, all right.
Merging.
So there is an integration between the subject itself in no time. I don't need to have like 8 hours in the morning, in the whole day, to make my students suffer from just getting more information without let them understand about that. So that's what we're missing in education.
Yes. Also, Doctor, you have stressed several times that partnering with international universities is key here to towards progress. So what other action points should be done, in your opinion, aside from partnering with international universities in order to elevate the standards of education in Egypt and to have graduates competing with other global universities?
Practicing. I mean, I have the curricula right now, and I have the global curricula, and I have the international, and I have the experience. So I have to do practicing this. I have to integrate this with my country needs, all right? So most of the time I have the students getting the information without know the integration between my country needs and that method, all right? So that's what the professor really need to do. They have to integrate what's the local market needed with the curricula they are teaching. And in that way, they will come with the pile of something that really very benefit. When the students graduates, he will know exactly what to do in the market, what to do in his country. All right. I have the global, but this global international curricula, already it's global, it's general. Okay, it's a standard. But how can I integrate this locally? That's the key.
Yes. Also, Dr. Jihan, do you believe that educational workers and professors need more training?
Exactly, of course. They need technology training. They are so academic. I'm not talking about most, of course. No, most of them are very, like knowledgeable and skilled, and they know exactly what they do alone. But I'm not talking about personal efforts. This is a personal effort. All right, we have a lot of personal effort skills.
No, I mean, do you think that the government or the Ministry of Higher Education should provide training workshops for professors and educational workers?
Definitely, definitely. And I'm sure they are ongoing on this point, because this point is already, like in a parallel line for what the global market already is needed and the international curriculum do. I'm not talking about traveling, no. I'm talking about how to use this in the way, I'm not saying in the same way as the, like most global internationals doing in other European countries. No need for using the same way. We can't use it the same way. We have to use an applicable way to our here. And that needs training, definitely.
What about the students? Do you think that they're doing their part in order to become the leaders of tomorrow?
I cannot say the students...
We're not generalizing.
No. I cannot say this is the role of the students. We are, like making students work. It's our role as professors and teachers. This is our role to let them know exactly, to let them love what they're doing. When they love, they will do. All right. So I cannot say they're not doing the part. It's our part to let them do the part. So I'm always blaming what we have to give. As I said in the beginning, learning should be in fun, okay? Because we have to do that from the beginning in K to 12 schools to, like to pick up the skill and to guide the students to their needs. And when the needs come, it's come to postgraduates or universities, they will go exactly for what they love, not what the grades.
It's not just about memorizing and taking the exam and just putting out all what you know, and then you don't get anything out of the course later on.
Believe me, if the teacher from the beginning know exactly how to guide, okay, so students will do exactly their role. Don't give them something randomly and tell students they don't do that. No, we are professors, we are the one who should create the way for how to attract students to do their role and more.
Yes. Dr. Jihan, as we're wrapping up, I'd like to know your closing remarks and if there's a message that you'd like to send.
The only message really I need to send for, there's a lot of messages, but I need to tell how really I'm really grateful for what's going on in Egypt. This is one of the things. Secondly, I need to have a message to the instructors and teachers and tell them exactly, please, if they don't have the way to attract students, do that by yourself. All right, try to find a traction way of your curricula, of your method, of your course. Try to find something that really will give knowledge more than information. All right, that's actually my knowledge.
Dr. Jihan Zahran, education and innovation expert and postgraduate professor, thank you so much for your insight and thank you so much for being with us on The Breakfast Show.
And that's my pleasure.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, now we move on to a quick break and then we'll be back to resume The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International.